35. We have the press here with Nikki Sweeten and Cheryl Dowden and her husband Joe, who were reporting for today.
Sherman, not Sweeten.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nikki Sherman. I'm sorry. We have an order of business to take care of prior to going over the applications, and that's going over the sign permit application form and voting on the contents of that. Did everybody get a chance to look it over since we had already worked on this? Anybody see any glaring issues, mistakes?
Nothing we can't mess with. There's one reference to the city in here that probably is inappropriate. I don't think it matters enough.
Which page, Duane?
I don't recall.
Official signs, any signs erected by a city, county, or federal government?
Yeah, we don't have any city.
True. Take it off.
And might add POA to it.
Okay.
That was the only one I saw.
So switch out city to POA.
I'll rework the sentence just a tiny
It
bit.
was so minor.
Anybody else have anything before we take a vote on this? I move to enter the sign rules / guidelines that are included on the back of all the permit applications for signage into active status.
And I'll
Do I
second
have- Do I have approval?
Approved, I approve.
Yes, yes.
And it passes with approval.
Quick question.
Yes, Duane?
Is this going to the board, or do we act as under the committee's authority?
Under the committee,
That's what I was hoping your answer was.
not board.
Because my understanding is everything that's on, that we vote on and say that this is what we are going to act under, and this is what compliance would follow, the teeth behind it is within the 3-page covenant document.
That's right.
Okay.
James,
Yes,
can we get a copy of that?
yes.
Oh, I have a copy. I thought I just gave a copy.
You
Here,
just gave me the,
here, I'll give her mine.
Got it.
I have to hike across the planet to get
no,
to
thank you.
Run, run.
All right. Approval of minutes was done by email, and Tucker, do you have anything? Because I don't have anything else.
Nope.
That's a no from Tucker. Stephanie, do you have anything?
I do want to just report that we are at 49 new home permits for the year so far, plus an additional 4 that were for burnt homes and or townhomes. So really we're at 50, what is that, 53? I wanted to remind everybody that DeSoto Boulevard across from Diamante is going to be closed starting August 17th for the repair of that culvert. It should last about a week and a half, and there'll be lots of signs. You're seeing them probably already, and that's going to be a pain, but it has to be done.
And I gathered that that was going to, we're going to security man the Balboa Gate.
Correct, and also we will, for that period of time, the east gate will be manned 24 hours instead of being closed.
Okay.
Primarily because
Give directions.
there's no way to actually access any of that section of the community after the hours, after 11 o'clock if you don't have a card. So anyway, so yeah.
Good idea, I didn't think about that.
We would have come up with that.
Yeah. So everybody else, you'll route around, like for me, going to work, I have to go out the east, come into Balboa Gate, etc. So. The gate transition, we are transitioning gate oversight. We're in the process of working through that from public safety to compliance. So public safety is very much in the law enforcement world, and we are in the code enforcement and policy enforcement.
Okay.
So it made sense to transition that function of the POA over to compliance, since that's what we do in it sort of, it conflicts with what the police department's scope of work is.
But the people will probably remain about the same.
Yes, yeah. Probably look at some changes to efficiencies and some of just the structure around it, but the people will remain the same. Yeah. And then the deer hunt orientation is the urban deer hunt starts September 1st. Orientation is this weekend. Certainly all protocols are being put into place to comply with the COVID guidelines and all of that, but it'll happen here, almost all of it outside so that we can keep people apart and all that good stuff, but that's this weekend. And that's all I have, except for I do want to, we can do it now or I can do it later, but Marcy Mermel came by my office and she, we had recommended that she go back and take a look at that property, the one that she wanted to put the little hut thing on. Make sure she could even access the shoreline from where she would have to come in off the road. And she believes that she can. She still wants to do it. And so she's now asking for us to do what she said before, which is a preliminary approval of that type of structure on that land. She said she would send me additional pictures, but did not. So I could put her on hold and say we want to see pictures again of the actual unit that or the actual prefabricated piece of whatever that thing is. It's a shed. Is it a shed? I don't know.
She can change it, but we want to know what
Yeah, I mean it's
preliminarily approved.
Right. I mean there would be no water or sewer to that. It's almost just like a storage shed, if you will, but.
It's like a half storage shed, half you can put a couple chairs in there.
And it's, obviously, and we haven't seen the plat, we haven't seen
Where?
the supplement, how Cooper would bring it into the village. It's extremely unusual in my mind that they would plat that reserved property right in the middle of a residential subdivision other than residential with different notes. But she says they will. Tucker, you've been around a lot longer than I have in those with that type of work. So, I mean, Cooper would have to plat that and designate it where it was not single-family detached residential in order for us to even consider it.
Well, that's was my thinking there, and I don't, what are they gonna plat it as? If that's not what it is. So I think that's gonna dictate what we can and can't do. Because the plat, unless they designate that as a plat that we can build something on besides whatever our minimum is, which is 1,000, I think, in the village, it's gonna have to adhere to that. I don't think Cooper would do it otherwise, but that's between her and them.
Well, it almost sounded like she was going to be her own entity in the middle of the village.
But they have to zone it something.
They have to zone it something. I mean, if they bring it into the village as a parcel within the Hot Springs Village community, so under a supplemental declaration, which I think that they would, it will not be on the existing residential plat that neighborhood is. Like they will plat it independently of whatever subdivision, that Coronado subdivision, I think it is. So it'll be its own subdivision with one parcel on it, but because it's completely surrounded by a residential subdivision now, it would be, I've never seen them do that. They won't plat it something other than residential, but what they could do is change the notes on the residential plat that says it can be smaller than 1,000, or that it doesn't have to be a single-family detached structure on it, but still not commercial, if you will.
Right.
Basically, they only do commercial, residential, or multifamily. So
long as they don't get to subdivide it.
Well, I think my advice to her would be find out how they're gonna plat it before we talk about it anymore.
Okay.
I mean, don't you think we need to
I
know
do.
what, because we don't need to just get her to get pictures or anything else till we know what it's gonna be platted for.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We're preliminary. Our role is preliminary until we see what they're going to do. So, okay. I'll let her know.
I did have one other thing that I forgot, and excuse me, but I've kind of had a rough yesterday, today, and this morning. Tucker, maybe you can fill in because it wasn't live streamed. Am I going to have to get 2 more committee members? It was my understanding that the board person and the staff person are no longer voting on committees.
No, you didn't know this. That's not That's not what was said, was it, Stephanie? No. And no, we've always had 5 ACC people. I think the ACC is probably one of the major reasons they added the 2 people, or it would be me, it's the only committee we have that really required that. By adding a POA board member as the voting committee and Stephanie as a staff member, I personally believe we still needed 5 villagers.
Well, we had 7, so
7.
you guys came on. We had
There were 7 on the committee
Yeah.
before?
Yes.
There were, but the way our charter is written, and it changed even since I've been working with ACC, it says up to 7. So we do not have a mandate of 7, we can have up to 7. And so, because it used to be 5, and we had people traveling, and we thought, well, there's times when we need more than the 5,
Right.
which is why that occurred. So right now, we're well within the confines of the charter, having Tucker and I.
And I think voting, I mean, I was asked a question and my response was just like my normal response is, I really don't care. But the truth is, I don't vote on most of the stuff. You know, you guys run the email stuff. I'll vote if I need to, but it's not that I'm, but no, we're gonna vote. I guess we'll still vote just like we do.
Yeah, I kind of liked the way that Diana said it yesterday. I mean, it's really up to your discretion and mine as well, and especially if it feels conflicting in any way, then we just abstain and don't get involved. If you need us to weigh in and vote, then we can, but it's not required.
But I don't think we
But it's
need,
not optional.
I don't think even if her and I were not voting, I don't think you need more than 5 people in most cases, do
Yeah, you
you?
do, because of the workload.
Yeah.
Well,
For
and
a
that's,
while there, it was
well,
just
and-
Duane and
but-
me, basically.
well, and that's tough, but
That-
I also, one thing I wanted to bring up is are we, in a positive way, not negative, taking away some of this stuff that we're looking at all the time? And I think Stephanie, from back before I was even on the board, she wanted to streamline some of this permit process. And I think we're doing that. And then we may be able to do it more. But I think that we ought to do that whether you have time to go look at it or not. Why are we wasting our time driving around if it's something that's standard operating, whatever, let them do it.
Because we don't want to get into the issue, like you brought up at, I think, your first meeting with us, that 20 years ago, you guys saw a boat dock permit and it looked good, so let's just
Well,
let.
no, but that's what I'm saying. There's some things, yes, but I mean, if there's some things, the fence is normal, blah, blah, blah. Somebody asked me yesterday about putting up a rail on their front walk, which we've done wrought iron rails on walks forever that are too high. Well, this one's not too high, but they're gonna use that wrought iron rail to fence in their little doggy. And I said, I don't think there'll be a problem at all getting that through. It's just like any other wrought iron rail on any other front sidewalk, but it's not gonna be on a raised sidewalk. It's gonna be on a sidewalk that's on grade, but it's still a nice decorative rail. And I said, I don't think that's gonna be an issue. I don't know, we may not have any more items we could streamline. I don't know, Stephanie's got a better feel for that than I
And
do.
I think Janet, right now, with 5 active members now, let's just kind of watch it and see how it goes, and if it feels like the workload, I mean, today's agenda is an unusually large agenda, I have to say, and that may be, we also went from 4 meetings a month to 2 meetings a month. I mean, we just need to probably play by ear, and this is a gap. We have a 3-week gap here instead of the normal every other week, so which is another reason this agenda is super, super long, but maybe we just kind of watch it and play by ear, and if it feels like, that we need, because I have staff, I have people, I can take some more on if I need to help get photographs and review and things like that.
May I ask a question? I'm going to pick on George and Larry. Y'all two have come on recently, and you've kind of seen the Janice approach and the Duane approach, and you've noticed they're considerably different. You have either a problem with either one of them? And I'm just honestly asking.
I think you end up developing your own approach, after you.
Yeah, but that's not exactly the committee answer. Please.
When you say your approach about going out and seeing the sites and so forth?
I think that Janet still makes a drive-by or visit every place, and I've begun to move that down
I
considerably.
lean more in your direction. There's 1 or 2 I didn't go by today on this last time because I knew what it was, and I saw no problem with it.
I mean, y'all are the two new ones and have seen both
Yeah.
from an independent perspective. That's why I was picking on you.
Steph, does it slow down during the summer, I assume? I mean, during the winter?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I would assume.
Bunch. Yeah. I mean, the one area that I think I feel like we could easily do it in the office is the new home stuff, real honestly. New homes, there's just not much for you to do. It's a vacant lot, you're not looking at anything. If it looks right on paper, if it meets all the criteria, I mean, the only thing would be, does it fit the neighborhood? And that's so completely subjective anyway. Everybody's gonna have a different opinion about whether or not it fits the neighborhood, and you can pretty much tell that by the plan too, just knowing the village. We know the village, we know,
I did run into that once. I did a log house.
that would be a.
Well,
Yeah.
there's always a flag.
Yeah.
It was
You know.
right in between two existing houses on Lake Balboa, so I knew it wasn't gonna fly. But
Right.
the owner wanted to have that
Insisted.
done, so we submitted it. Of course, they got kicked out.
And I think that's where, if we all work well together and you have trust in my ability, or trust in knowing that I'm gonna bring it to you if there's even a slight question, you know what I mean? Like, if it's something that feels out of the norm, I can bring it back to you. I mean, there's a few things, like you said, that we can do in the office that are so kind of just simple and straightforward. It doesn't need
I
to,
have no problem
Odd
with
you
that person.
down.
I think commercial needs to come in here. But I
for
think-
sure, yeah,
I have no problem with that,
yeah.
personally.
I mean, if it's oversized or feels like it's crowding the neighborhood, I mean, if there's anything that would make, put a red flag up, we'll just bring it to you. But if it's your typical carriage home being built like every other carriage house on every other 3rd-acre lot, I mean, it's pretty simple.
They pretty well fit in any neighborhood.
In any neighborhood, yeah. So,
And most everybody's, especially the spec houses, and we're seeing a lot more of that, they all fit in the neighborhood. They're
honestly,
building them
those-
to sell.
contractors would, one of the things we want to do is promote construction in the village, and speeding up their process is nothing but good. I mean, if they can walk in the office, we can review it within a couple days. Our inspectors will do our plan review and all that kind of stuff, and issue their permit within a few days instead of a couple of weeks or more. That's better. And just soon get started.
One thing Janet asked me, and I want to bring up kind of off the subject, but you and Jason had been working on separating the permit fees and all that. Has that taken place yet?
It is, I am done on my side. I am waiting on his specs. And I emailed him again just last week. He should have them ready. I mean, and all it is the specifications of what the tank requires.
Well, him and I talked about that, and I asked the question, and he didn't seem to have a problem with it, but you obviously need to ask him again that he didn't have a problem, with us separating it now, even though the specs are not complete, because by the time they need to put a tank in, he's going to have that complete.
Okay.
So from a paperwork standpoint and an appearance standpoint, that separation, and we can I feel like we can accomplish that.
I've even got my paperwork ready.
Right.
I mean, I can do it tomorrow.
I think you could
Okay.
drop the hammer, but get it,
I'll talk
don't
to
go on, I mean, I'm just saying, I think you could, and I think he agreed that he could have the specs out before anybody had to put a tank in anyway.
Okay, I'll visit.
But you can confirm that with him.
Because you're right, you'd be issuing permits now, we're talking months from now, maybe you need the tank, so.
I have a question. when we
Yes.
get to that.
Yes.
This discussion about why go back. My reflection on that is why submit it as an inspection if we're not gonna go back? I don't understand that philosophy.
I think the idea was they weren't going to put it. They were going to take care of it in the office.
I think, what
Well,
Steph,
that's what I'm saying, couldn't you not issue the permit based on your argument, which is solid?
Right, that's what we would do, you're right. So pretty much what we would submit to you, you would probably need to review, which means you'd probably need to drive by or visit with
if
I mean,
it's
my
something
goal-
that's unusual that pops out at you guys, then it would come to committee.
Well, I can't make a judgment without going back, is my philosophy.
Well, if they turn in a log house or a purple house, I mean,
Storage container house.
yeah, just, that kind of stuff, then I think Stephanie or the staff, whatever, they're gonna shoot that out to us right away, I would think.
Like
That's
the one we
absolutely right.
had where the young man wanted to build the cube with the flat roof. That would pop right off that page at you guys.
Right, absolutely. But even then, to your point, I would issue the permit to you, or issue the application to you guys, somebody would review it, but driving by isn't gonna do you any good either. I mean, you can drive by that vacant lot all day long, but it's not
Well,
gonna
I
help.
mean, my question is, why put it on the list, on our list, if you go by that argument?
Yeah, we
Well,
wouldn't.
it wouldn't-
If we're issuing it in office, we would not put it on your list. I mean, my ultimate goal, and I had told Tucker this a long time ago, was that if we had enough, if the rules, the regs that you guys are following are close enough that we can follow in office, I would love to only bring to you things that require a variance from them. If I already know what you're gonna be making your decisions by, I would love to be able to just bring you things that are outside the norm.
Well,
Always and ever.
I may be way off. I make the judgment by the permit application and looking at the elevation and so forth. But I also judge that by a drive-by, and I'm an argument for the neighborhood. Does this fit in the neighborhood? But if we go away with that, that's fine. Just let me know.
Well, I don't think we're doing away with that. We're doing away with it on every house. I mean, I think that's what we're discussing is, do we do it on every house? Well, if it's, like she said, a normal carriage home or Renaissance, their homes are mostly all brick. They're nice. They'll fit in any neighborhood. The only thing they might do is actually be a little bit nicer than some in the neighborhood, but that's not typically the case either. And the truth is, if it is nicer, I don't think we'd be turning it down anyway. That the village is made up, it was really pretty cool in that aspect that you can have, I've got a 1,100 or 1,200 square foot house 2 doors down from me. I built it for my daughter, but it's a nice house, and mine's 2,700 square feet. It doesn't bother me a bit. It doesn't hurt my property values, I don't think.
Well, and hopefully, if things go well, we should see our new home permits go up. And so, it would further bog down your process and review if we're in that 150, 200 new permits a year range, which I hope we get there.
When we're talking about changing procedures, we're talking about changing the way we.
The other reason to drive by is if you're missing information on a permit, you can talk to the owner and say, I need to know what the size of that pad is. I just found out 16 by 50. Okay, that saves some permit time. If I have questions, I'll ask you guys too,
Well, I don't think we're talking about doing this on a covered deck or a shed or anything like that. We're just talking about
Basically talking new homes.
basically new homes is all we're referring to.
Straight fence type permits, things like that. They're just
I kind of agree with
really
Duane. Driving by an empty lot doesn't really do a whole lot. I think you guys can screen in.
Hey, let's eliminate that as a process
That's what she just said.
and go with it, and not put it on our list if it's a new carriage home.
She's not going to.
Don't put it on the list anymore.
I think you missed out on that. She's not going to.
Yep. Gotcha.
Just the unusual ones that stand out to them once the application is filed in the office. Then it'll come to us. Does anybody have any other housekeeping business to do before we go to the permits? Okay.
Just one last comment on that one. I have enjoyed knowing where the new stuff is about to be built, the proposed. It's selfish, but I don't look forward to losing access to that.
Curious.
Still kind of like that. That could simply be part of your comments at the start of the meeting.
That'd be fine. I can even know what permits are issued in the office, so you'll know and where and all that kind of stuff. Do that.
It'd be a courtesy, and I'd appreciate it.
You bet. I can do that.
All right, Duane, since you're first on the list,
Thank you.
keep up.
Okay.
8 Medina Way, widening a driveway.
And I did not get these in order, so hang on. Okay. All right, this is the first one that I'm not real happy with. If you can toss up the plat, second page. They've got a very narrow lot on a very steep slope. Keep going.
I'm just gonna turn it.
Okay. And a little hard to see, but there's a slight red line to the left of their driveway. It's something like 6.5 feet or something to the easement. And they'd like to fill that in with a concrete parking pad. They actually already have a gravel parking thing there that I don't think they can drive in and out of. It's so steep. Honestly, their driveway is so steep, I don't know how they missed their front garage door.
Did you send me pictures?
I did. I think there's 2 or 3 of them.
The separation sure makes it hard to see anything, don't it?
I'm sorry?
The separation sure makes it hard to see anything.
Well, she'll blow it up as soon as she finds it. Okay. Sorry, that's the garage door on the right. That's the parking pad on the left, somewhere between his driveway and the neighbor's driveway. And if you notice, there's almost a lattice framework and a gravel parking thing where they want to build this concrete parking pad.
I think you had another picture, let me see.
And the other picture is really a couple of different views to try and give you a hint of the slope going down this thing. That is incredibly steep. And one more. Okay, I was trying to give you a sense of the fall. This is going down to the lake, I'm pretty sure. No, common property. It's just incredibly steep. They do, in fact, have parking essentially graveled in the road right away up on the street. Their request in their application was to have some parking for visitors. I think that's actually accomplished with their right-of-way parking area. This crowds their neighbor. It just doesn't look very appropriate to me. I actually will recommend that we deny this one.
So they're really just essentially asking to widen their driveway
But
to the easement line.
I know this house. I just realized where this is at.
okay,
It's tough.
It's a tough spot.
It's a tough spot, and there's no place for him to park.
well, but they do have the graveled right-of-way off the road that they've essentially been parking on.
I don't even remember that.
Kind of thought this was going to be a third vehicle permanent parking spot.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either, that's
I
speculation.
didn't think so. I know the gentleman. I've done a lot of work for him. He's actually a coach at Fountain Lake.
Okay,
He called me about this. I told him what to do. He needed to turn in for permit, but
and
I didn't know there was any parking anywhere
I did not talk
else.
to him personally.
I don't know if there's any parking anywhere else. It's right there on, I mean, it's
Yeah, it's going straight down.
steeper than a cow's face, and there's only room, you could probably park 2 cars on this driveway, and that's it. I don't remember, my truck barely got in the driveway without it sticking out in the road.
Yeah, those are the 2 houses, aren't they?
Now, you haven't asked them if it's gonna be level.
It's not.
Oh, it's
Oh, it is not.
Maybe we say yes.
Where's he putting it at?
Right beside the drive, which is incredibly steep. Again, I'm surprised he hasn't rammed that garage
Just
door.
literally widen, yep,
Yeah,
just widening the driveway. to the
Yeah.
easement line.
And the other driveway is right on the other side. It's a tough one.
I have a question, Duane.
Go.
I saw gravel on the left and then some ground or something in between the driveway. What? Yeah, right.
This thing?
Where's the drive, he just wants to widen it with the ground grass is.
Zoom
Yeah,
in
that's
just a
not-
bit.
Is he coming all the way up to the street with it, or just making it like a turnaround spot?
All the way to the street.
It's not real clear. I think he's coming to the street. There's not enough room to make a turn and maneuver. You don't get the sense, but this is at the street, and this drops another 5 to 8 feet to his garage door in a short little 30, 20-foot driveway section. It's steep.
How's he gonna level that up and not have a retaining
He's
wall?
not.
He's gonna pour it on grade.
Essentially, this piece of lattice, essentially, this is a gravel driveway here, parking pad. It already is, coming straight off, there's no retaining wall.
You couldn't park on that, you couldn't get out of there right
Structural
now.
issues, if you will, at the moment.
You couldn't get out, you couldn't park there now with gravel, you couldn't get out of there,
I think that's what he's found out. And I'm not sure he could do, honestly, if there's the least bit of rain or glaze on the driveway, I don't see him getting out either. It's just one of those tough lots. Very short driveway with about 10
What are we
foot.
concerned about in turning it down? Why are you wanting to turn it down? You afraid he's gonna use it as a parking pad?
I didn't really, that was just suspicion. My concern is really what he's doing to his neighbor. All of a sudden, this is a little house, and he's going to go essentially, especially with the flare at the road, right to the property line.
Was that gravel, his neighbor's gravel?
No, well, I mean, both neighbors have gravel between the two concrete driveways.
But that gravel there is his?
The gravel on the right is his, the gravel on the left is the neighbor's. I guess the white gravel is the neighbor's, and
Okay,
the brown grass and gravel is his.
okay.
But again, even, you get a sense of that fall from the neighbor's lot. He's kind of filled in and has a little pathway going around on the left side of the house, just behind that.
He shows it, it's hard to see, but I'll try to point it out to you guys.
Yeah,
Oh, now I see the red line going
Yeah,
all
he
the way to the street.
he shows it coming off right here to the 7.5 foot easement and going straight out to the, he doesn't show it going
yeah,
down
he
the
doesn't
road.
show it, I think he intends it.
Yeah,
Well, we've not allowed driveways to go wider than the
Yeah, he is
garage
exactly
other than by about a foot or two.
the good news is this guy's, I will just say you can tell from this guy's driveway and garage, and there are no windows on this side of his house either, you can tell because that's garage. So at least it's crowding, not on his, it's crowding his garage side as well, if you consider that crowding. Because his driveway's gonna start.
What's he, only about 5 or 6 foot wide? Is that all he's adding, 8 or
He's
9?
adding like 6.3.
6 feet 2 inches.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying.
That's not much different than a sidewalk.
Yeah, if you will, my concern was simply a little more for the neighbor's perspective, but I don't know if the neighbor and he get along perfectly. I don't think they offered any statement from the neighbor in
But he's
support.
within the right of way. His.
Yeah.
He stays outside of the 7.5, not the road right away, but outside of the 7.5 foot utility easement.
That's what
Yeah.
Okay.
If he puts it on the other side where the entrance is into the front of the house, what would he say then if we
Well,
offered that idea?
I think that'd look
it
worse.
would actually probably be worse. There's no room on the right side. He's built on the utility easement there.
You go like
No, I think he's talking about widening the driveway.
Oh, in front of his house.
Yeah.
That would look worse.
That would look worse. especially if that car is gonna
You
sit
gotta
there.
go parallel to the road then.
Well, and he does have a spot that one or two cars fit. Can you zoom this one?
No,
Okay.
I just try to
Yeah,
get
okay.
as soon as I can.
Again, there's not much, but this is a little bit of a ditch around here. And off of the road, there is a brown 10 or 12 foot wide gravel parking area.
On his side of the street?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
I worked on that house for a couple months, and I never remember parking anywhere but in that driveway. But I don't remember any place to park, but that was just me. I can't remember.
Yeah, it looks like there's the crushed
But
granite.
It's there.
it's been a while. He may have done
Yeah.
something since I was there. I don't know.
But
It looks like
we
there's
can-
just.
we can-
Question, if you weren't concerned about the safety of it, would we have a problem doing it?
Well, I don't think he's concerned about safety. He just thinks
Well,
it's
just
intruding on
talking
the
about how
neighbor.
cheap it was.
well,
Oh, well, it's the same as a driveway.
yeah, I mean, it's the same as the driveway.
Yeah,
The
that's
driveway's
my
got
point.
some problems too, so.
So your primary objection is you think it infringes upon the neighbor?
And, yeah,
But he's still on his property.
It's still on his.
agreed. And again, and we,
I
and
guess
we
I
have
don't
no
see a problem.
requirements that people not park cars outside. It's done routinely. You know,
I bet his neighbor would rather see him on a parking pad than in his gravel.
I would too.
You know what I mean? Like if it's just a widening of the driveway so that he can actually be parking on something solid. If he's already parking over there, like you said, it's kind of already a parking space for him, only gravel. I'd rather see him concreted than leave it gravel, if he's already using it as a parking space.
well, I don't think he is. I think that was a hope, but I don't think it
Oh, I got you.
functions
I got
the
you.
way it is until he gets something solid he can get
I
settled.
don't know what he's gonna park at 6'2".
Again, he's gonna be crowding over on his driveway too. And honestly, getting out of the driver's side door is gonna be a challenge no matter what he does. But, you know, he knows that part.
I don't think it's for permanent parking.
Okay.
I mean, from what I can say, but I don't know if you, I mean, unless he wants to park a golf cart there.
I've got no objections otherwise. I simply suggest we vote, and I think I'm hearing some support, so.
So you're recommending denial?
I'm gonna stay with it because I went with it, but why don't we vote? I think you can outvote me.
I personally don't see why we should deny him.
Okay.
I'm kind of letting him
Well,
go.
I know in the past we have turned people down because we don't allow the driveways to extend out past, I think it's a 1.5 to 2 feet on either side of
The garage
the
door.
garage.
Well, that's arbitrary, because that's been all over the village is done wider than that.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was in
It
that
would
last.
definitely help him get out of the car.
I've got a certain driveway is wider than that.
He can get out of the car a lot easier because he's not stepping on grass or gravel.
Yeah.
And he's on a decline. If it was an incline, it'd be a guillotine door, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
I know what you mean.
I can
I'm
see
okay
for
with it.
egress, that makes sense.
I say vote, yes,
I
I'm
vote
okay with
I
yes.
approve.
yeah, approve, whatever.
George, Larry,
You got another?
approved.
Okay. That was actually my worst one.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
We'll be
see.
here till midnight.
8 Nudo Lane deck.
Yes.
Duane.
This, I think, is a pretty easy. He's got a house with an Arkansas room with a little vaulted ceiling structure over it. He has an open deck. He simply wants to extend that open deck another 10 feet as open deck, give him a little bit more barbecue room. He will be changing the railings. They are not code compliant at the moment, going to a 4x4 welded wire. Should be very nice. I recommend it.
Approve.
Move.
I go with it.
Approved. 18 Careed Place, landscaping a new home.
Okay. I like this one. Let's go ahead and find that picture. It's not annotated great, but he's essentially going to have 4 or 5 foot of gravel along this very long driveway. Some very nice planting beds in front, planting beds in back. There's a patio courtyard area in the back of the house. I'm sorry, this was part of the plan.
Oh,
Yeah, not pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just down.
just down.
I did the boat dock, I think.
Should have brought my mouse today.
So keep going. Tad more. Yeah, keep going. There you go. So again, very nicely done, if you will. Again, this very long driveway, he's going to line in. A lot of plantings and beds they're putting in. This is a new house. And there's going to be this very large courtyardish thing that will have some landscaping. He paid to build in the sewer easement, but again, some nice planting beds. It's still back from Lake Coronado. I think this the dock doesn't quite exist yet, but it's coming.
No, we had the permit last time.
Okay, I thought it was familiar. Okay. Anyway, I think this is all plantings as well. There is something of a flagstone path just to get around the house. But, yeah, I liked the plan. It's well intentioned. I'd recommend it.
Yes.
Approved grade.
Approved. 20 Jacote Way, landscape.
Again, pretty straightforward, easy, I think. Again, yeah, there it is. Yeah, that actually is the pretty plan.
Some nice.
Turned around. There's the driveway on the lower left. Big planting beds in front. Big
Looks like there's foundation.
rock things. I think that's supposed to be. It's not it's not
path.
big boulders, but there's a sort of a surround to the planting areas around the house.
Looks like maybe flagstone pathway going around.
It's not.
It says that, flagstone pathway.
It does?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Looks nice.
Anyway, again,
Oops.
nicely done. And then he actually shows the sprinkler system he's about to install. It's actually going to be on a separate meter. I don't get that, but that gets him out of paying sewage fees. So, which pays for the meter. Again, everything was straightforward. He's got a nice list. Nice list of the plants. I recommend that it be approved.
Approved.
All right.
Approved.
Yep.
28.
28 Manor Way, new home.
Yeah, okay. There's no problem with this. It's Whitesboro brick and weatherwood shingles. I'm not exactly sure what Whitesboro is, but it should be fine as far as the color.
So those
My-
corners hit the line, don't they?
I'm sorry?
The corners of that house.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
it's a weird house. This is
barely.
the inverted pie lot. The street is the long side and it goes back to that narrow little common.
Yeah.
I really don't think the address is correct. Stephanie, can you pull it?
There's two. Oh, here's the.
I think this is down on the cul-de-sac. But 28 Mano is 5 or 10 houses down the road, I think.
Does it show the street there?
Yes, yeah.
Is it Way?
Sorry? Yeah. Manor Way. I'm thinking it might be
Oh, that's
18.
right. It's Mano, right? Not Manso.
I don't, yes.
Yeah. I know.
I think you're right. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I think it's on down the street at the cul-de-sac. See if the cul-de-sac might be.
It's right here. I don't think that's it either.
Uh,
I think that's
Yeah, I
off.
don't. Manor Way comes way up here and has a little cul-de-sac loop. Anyway, I've got a little question about where the address is, but that's what the surveyed plat shows. Again, this is a new house request. The elevations are pretty, they're fine. If anything, it is almost an identical twin to the house across the street from them. But I don't think that's a problem, it's across the street. It is a left-right invert.
Who's the builder?
Same builder.
I don't know.
Jay Allen?
It looks like
Alan,
Jay.
right.
Yeah.
It was.
Yep, it's Jay.
And this is sort of the Allen neighborhood, by the way.
Yeah.
Again, I had no other problems and recommend that we approve it.
Okay.
Move.
Approved.
Stephanie, would you check into maybe the correct address?
I will.
I just don't think that's quite where it is.
Yeah.
29 Loretta Lane, revisit
Oh, this is a
this.
problem. We know this person, so you can be a kind of occasional pain, but otherwise, this is Janet. This is that, again, trying to put a black chain link fence down to the water on the, if you will, left side of her property. It's arguable whether it is even touching the water. The little indent is essentially a creek that has backfilled a little bit. That's the one she put a bridge across just to do maintenance on the rest of her lot. The right side is essentially, I'm gonna portray it as being a kind of invisible fence because of all of the other plantage, screenage that's out there. There's also apparently a couple new plantings down right on the water's edge. This is in a very small little bay of lake, whichever. Help me. Lake
Coronado.
Coronado, thank you. I've got two pictures that I took essentially down the sidelines. This thing goes straight down the hill. So completely invisible from the road and nearly invisible from the lake.
I was going to say, from the lake, the right side, you're not even really going to be able to see the fence, are you?
That's sort of where I was going to go
Yeah.
and tell you that I do recommend that this is fine. This is within what we intended. It gets into the 20-foot building easement, but I think we're beginning to relax our own thoughts on whether or not a fence can go to the edge of the lake. Not necessarily fence the lake off.
For sure, yeah. That was what we decided last time, is that we would, the case by case, but typically we would consider all the way to the lake side, just not, just not on the lake
blocking
frontage.
the lake.
But this would be a variance that we'd be issuing because of the chain link, because that we did not relax.
Right. And, but again, you can see that the lake is everything to the far right. This is a shallow little cove that, and Janet's house is the farthest one into that cove. So,
The house to the left is an inland lot, so theoretically, that property line, shared property line, they could put a chain link fence up.
Essentially, about as far
Why don't
as.
you just hire them to do it?
It's true.
Again,
Make it easy on yourself.
still kind of recommend this one
A motion to approve.
with the variance, I suspect,
Yeah.
Thank you.
with one abstention.
I think that last thing in itself is the reason you can do something like this, because the lot next door could have it, so,
Well, and
because it's not a lake lot, so.
the right side fence, we're doing the wee bit of variance, but certainly seems within reason.
You can't get the neighbor to decide the other side.
That actually was kind of one of the options, yeah. Okay, this, Nancy McDermott would like to put a storage shed on her very small little lot in the house. And this is one of my pictures.
I'll show you the plat first.
Yeah, and here's the problem. If you will, that's the driveway coming in from the street, something,
Cartega.
Cartega. It comes down into the sort of little wraparound to the garage on the left. The yellow little building is where she wanted this thing to sit. The basis of her spot was that this was the flattest spot she's got. It gets worse and worse as you go into her backyard, and the backyard ends up being an elevated deck, about 10 feet. So you've got that kind of drop going on this lot. And she's got tons of plans, 20 pages of them.
I was gonna say we don't need all that.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you much of anything. But again,
Your photos
the
though.
photo that I had was, and I warned her that I didn't think we would seriously consider approving a shed that came into the front yard. So what I was asking is, and again, this thing keeps falling off. You can see that's vaguely a creek little drainage in the backyard. The right side, it comes up on a bunch of stone. She doesn't have many flat spots. But yes, so again, there's kind of her driveway, that's her back out turnaround. She wanted to put it right there at the tomato plants and that bay window, essentially starting in the front yard, essentially on that driveway little chunk.
That back right corner before you get to the woods,
Uh-huh.
where it looks like it's gravel, that looks pretty level right in there.
It isn't. There's about 3 foot of elevation across her shed. And I'm not sure if I've got a better shot of that, but
I don't think you need one.
what I
Can't put a
talked to
shed in the front
her
yard.
about was that assuming we would not do her requested spot, would we consider letting her put it on that side of the house? The way this lot is falling, at the front of the house, at the spot she's got picked, this thing is 70% visible from the street. Moving it back 10 or 15 feet onto the side lot, she's dropped off enough that it becomes almost invisible from the street.
She doesn't even have room. I mean, y'all may not be able to see that, but
Gotta stay 7.5 feet.
this is her lot line right here. This is her lot line right here. This is common. She may be thinking she has a lot of room back here. She has no room in her backyard.
I'm turned around. Okay,
This
there's
is the street.
the
This is
driveway.
her, yeah, this is her
Driveway and company, and she's, yeah. What I was
Yeah, that
actually suggesting to her to consider was putting that thing here.
But then it'd be on the
It
easement.
still might be crowded the easement. She's talked about moving it down to an 8 by 10 or 10 by 10.
That's what you want right here.
Yeah,
She wanted it really where that white car is,
she doesn't have
in
room.
front of her roof line.
There's a car parked way back here in front of the house.
By the side of the house. Again, that's
That's not steep.
that's where it starts rolling.
Okay.
It's going down, but not a bunch. As she goes back to where and it's congested. She's got a grinder, she's got an air conditioning unit, she's got the grinder power cutoff valve, and some water bibs coming out.
How about the plumbing for the grinder? Which way is that going? Underneath the shed? No.
I
It would have to be.
can't tell you, but I'm certain it's going to the street. I mean, essentially, again, this is not staked at all.
Well, I mean, just based on her location, we can't approve it. We can't approve something in front of the house, right?
Can in front of the house. What about on the side of the house?
Well, she's getting in, how much room's there? Is she getting into
It doesn't
easement?
look like she has room.
You have a plat, you don't have a plat on the house.
We don't have, yes, we've got,
How much room does she have between the house
In the lot line, yeah.
and the lot line? And then how big is the shed?
it appears that she has about 17 feet to the lot line and 10 or 11 feet to the easement line. This is all based simply on
How big
the
is
one
the
little
shed?
plat. The one she showed a picture of is 10 by 12. 10 by 12.
Is that a lot next door, or is that common property?
It's lots.
To the right,
They're both lots.
really,
This
I
is-
thought, the
that's
one
lot
to the right I
14.
thought was common property.
They're both lots. She's got a lot.
Probably back.
No, she's got a lot on both sides. 16, 15, 14. She's 15, there's 14.
Okay,
There's lots on both sides.
okay.
So the question is, can we let her move it all the way back down where it's not seen from the street?
That was,
And maybe reduce the size of it so it's not in the easement?
Or if it's gonna overhang the easement by a foot,
Yeah,
2 feet at the most, we could do a variance.
right.
We've done that before.
I agree with Janet, if it's,
and I mean, I think it solves, because
Well,
I
it's
really
not right
didn't
on the
see
line.
another spot on the property that really made any sense. Again, they don't even use that backyard. All of her gardening is up front in the front yard. And that's really what this is, a garden shed.
I say we say no and tell her if she can come up with another proposal that we'd look at.
On the side or on the.
Yeah, on the side, back on the side a little way.
Yeah, disapproved, denied as submitted. But yeah, if you would be encouraging to her, and I warned her that that was likely to happen.
Moving it down halfway.
Essentially it
middle
is,
of the house,
and,
sort of.
and honestly, we're gonna have the questions about the grinder, how
Yeah.
much room, Public Works needs.
You could put posts up to take care of that 3 feet and still walk in the front on grade.
3 feet. I lost.
Well, if the shed, she's gonna go in the front of the shed, I guess. We could, because of the terrain, doesn't mean you couldn't put posts in the ground and raise the back end up and level it up so she could walk in the shed from grade. Don't care how steep it is behind it.
She actually has a concrete footing in mind under this thing. Concrete, not a concrete slab, concrete footing with 2x8s and build from there. And then she actually had a little ramp planned, so it essentially would level the entrance.
Where is she gonna move? What's that box up there? Is that the
That's
AC?
a dog crate.
That's a dog crate,
Okay.
yeah. That was just junk to begin with. Keep it.
Well, she's not gonna be able to move it too far back because of the grinder thing
The
and,
grinder cut off, and there's a water bib right below it. Again, I was
could
telling her
move it right
she'd need
next
at
to
least a
that.
foot, 18 inches away from the house, and she can't get anywhere within about a foot of that grinder that you can see. A little bit farther back is her air conditioning compressor, so she's got a very small little option.
She said something about she was willing to go a little bit of a smaller,
Yeah,
I mean, she could bring it right in next to the grinder, but or the alarm thing, control, and then have it come in here, but it would have to be the smaller one. I mean, that's really not a lot of space.
and again, she started to block windows,
Sorry.
so.
That's really not a whole lot of space. That
She's
is
got
a
a
big
tough
dog crate, but you can only get probably 2 more into that space, and they're,
But again, she needs like 3 foot of ventilation space on the compressor,
Well, I
so.
think it's as simple as what we said. We have to deny it, she'd have to come back to us with a relocation.
Yeah.
So,
And she was aware that was likely to happen. So the vote, denial,
Deny. Yeah. Come back with no. Resubmit.
I think I was about to be done.
45 Toledo Drive.
Okay. Stephanie, did this come to us as a compliance?
oh, I don't know.
It might be nice if we actually got some indication of that.
Well,
This is a very nice house on a very weird skinny lot. And it actually is on the market. I think the folks may already be gone. But, okay, that's not, keep going back up a page. Up a page, yeah. The plat. Okay. So essentially, this is the long driveway. This actually is more of concrete drainage ditch taking water around the house than it is anything else. Again, the garage, this is actually the turnaround and parking pad over here. Again, this is, I walked it. It really is a very, very rough lined concrete ditch. The back side of this is their pretty house and their view of the lake. And essentially there's all of this deck. They may or may not have refurbished the deck section. And the way this actually came to us was a request for this additional little deck down here. I don't know if this was ever permitted or existed before, and this would presumably be a new little piece. They all exist now. This is completely done. Again, this,
The deck is done too.
well, the deck was original, so I can kind of believe that one is just a refinishing, refabricating for grinded wood. And they've done it beautifully. They actually, it was done, and now it's all done with the 4-inch wire cable. It's beautifully done, properly done, and I don't think they even live there anymore. So, and for sale sign out front. I've got pictures of this one.
Is there anything wrong with it?
So upgrade to cellular.
I
to make the same.
with the exception of saying they need cables on this new little deck, no.
And the deck is out, set back.
It's essentially down, and it doesn't exactly show it, but they've got a boat dock down there. This is essentially just
Is it set back from the 20-foot setback?
okay, so this, I'm going to say, is their old existing deck, which has now been refinished with the,
Cable.
I'm going to, let's not look real close. And it's fine. And then The staircase redone with the 4-inch wire next. And again, even that has the 4-inch wire. Coming out from the house and next. Now you're into this nice little walkway structure down to the boat dock. It's done with single handrail. I think that's legit. Next one. And here's that going on down to their little deck area, boat dock area. They've got a little patio down there. And last one. And this is the new deck. And fine, is in a nice spot. I just don't think those railings are going to satisfy. If they will bring those up to code, I would actually recommend this.
What is code? Is it above grade?
It's about 4 foot off the ground, and it doesn't have the 4-inch. Kid can't slip under the rail.
Well, if you approve the look and the location and what all that is, then that's when Sid will go out or Gary will
like I
send somebody out to
say,
inspect it.
And we've got a minor problem with the timing.
And it's already built.
Significant chunks of this, I think, are probably rehab.
So it looks like it probably did come from compliance. Somebody turned this in.
Well, that's why I asked.
Yeah, I
It
didn't.
would be nice for us to know that as we show up.
Wrought iron would look a lot better, don't you think?
No, actually, I don't. Actually, I don't. This now fits as all of that naturally treated and will go to the gray. And it's all coordinated.
Is this right on the
Wait,
water?
was this new section,
Yes,
that did not pre-exist, they added that on?
The deck on the end of it didn't, so I assume the path to it didn't.
So they built it before we approved?
Yeah,
I certainly
you're
think
looking at
so.
pictures of it and you've
Yeah.
got to approve it. So yes.
Yeah, there's an issue.
But is that a deck down there, or is that a walkway?
It's both.
Sorry, well, this is walkway.
It's kind of like a raised landing at the end.
So you got a deck down above grade on the
Let me
lake?
show you this aerial image because I'll bet you can tell that it wasn't
Not
there
in the
a little bit
building,
ago.
20-foot setback, no.
It's not? Well, it looked like water's right next to the rail there.
It's not,
Okay.
it's not.
Okay.
And
Well,
again, there's a
close,
plat
but-
that shows it, and it is a foot or two outside of the 20-foot.
He's gonna have to bring the railing up to code.
That's the only thing that they're not there. And again,
Actually, it's been there for a
Yeah, if we
little
want
bit.
to slap their hands, slap their hands, but I don't care if it's,
does
get
that
it now,
actually
go
show
with it.
the deck, the new,
It does.
Uh-huh.
so they didn't even add the deck.
They just got caught having built something without a permit.
They built this little piece, and everything else almost looks like it was there. It's well done. Somehow, we need to get it approved.
It
Approved?
wasn't there in 2019.
I approve with the note that.
Yeah, with the rail.
Yeah, they get it.
With the requirement that they've got to bring railings on the new deck,
And Stephanie's office can address the fact they did it before.
and that one. But again, I just don't know if they had the original permit back in '08.
We'll check it out.
Duane, do you want to do the one?
Yeah, let me do one
Yesterday,
last one.
I found that I had, one of my permits stuck with another permit. Normally, I would have gone out and done it, but I was sitting with the dying cat, so Duane.
So this is easy. They want to add a storage shed
This
in the
is 10
back yard
Hortuzuela
corner. This, 10,
Lane.
thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Is this under your stuff? Oh,
No, JR.
Yeah, it was under mine. It just got stuck, and when I started organizing yesterday, I was like,
The plat essentially shows what is there, and the 10 by 16, that's where I got that size, shed to be stuck in the back. There, don't get a great sense of whether, I can't believe they're gonna try and move that in built, but I think they're gonna have all sections pre-built and carry in the floor and 4 bottoms. Again, this is a white house, I think white brick, and with some red accents, and this shed is being created to absolutely fit that color scheme.
And the size,
Sorry?
the size,
10 by 16.
10 by 16.
Not huge, but it's big. And I've got a couple of pictures. The
So I want to put
question,
it back here on this corner of this.
yes, yes. And again, notice the weird lot shape.
Just
They're not exactly perpendicular to the road. So
And it's common behind it, right?
it's common behind it, and
This guy already has a shed in his corner, looks like.
and I'll tell you that you cannot see either house. You can't see the neighbors' houses even as close as they are, just the way this happens to be built, be vegetated back there. Question in my mind is that he may actually have another shed, and you have to go to my couple of pictures.
I don't have those pictures from you.
It was a little plastic, like one of those tough sheds at the side of the garage.
I thought so, yeah.
'Cause
And
pulled
I
it up
actually
on a-
talked to him at 9 o'clock last night, and he wasn't exactly agreeing that it was there. I think it is. But I don't know that we have any rules that say he can't have 2 sheds. So in general, I think it's a good idea.
He might get rid of the smaller shed
Yeah.
with getting the bigger one.
And he kept saying that what he had there was a itty bitty toolbox. I don't think we were talking about the same things. You never found it?
Yeah, you sent, I looked at the
emailed it
picture
like
that you
3 o'clock
sent.
yesterday.
So you recommend approval?
I do.
All right.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay, don't worry about it.
approved. Thank you for doing that one, Duane.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially the pictures we've shown you. It's a hard thing to see no matter what, so wasn't gonna be.
All right, George, you're up. 8 Riviera Lane.
8 Riviera Lane, beautiful home. They're asking to put 2 gates in on the sides of the house, one on the corner by the garage there, I think it is, sort of, top left hand on the plat of survey. And the other one would be on the right side, near some steps that are leaving a patio deck. This is wrought iron fence all the way around, beautiful. I almost fell in the lake, it was so bright there. There looks like there might have been a couple cleats in the sidewalk that was there at one time, or could have been lights they covered up. This is obviously a wrought iron fence to keep the dog in, not keep pirates or sailors out. I recommend approval unless I am approving something that's wrong. She did bring up someone else's property, and she's referencing, hey, they got it, and
Oh,
Oh, I know where that house is. That was going to be one of my examples of the
Lady's name
20-foot.
is Carol McGrew, so I haven't met her, so,
Does this fence go all the way to the lake or what?
yeah.
It would have to do the variance for doing it in the 20.
So is this one that's gonna go down the side of the lake
Mm.
and
Not go across the front.
not go across?
It's blatantly alongside the lake.
it
Yeah,
is
but
on the
it's just the sidelines going
Right.
down. It's not going
There's
to have a
pictures there. Did
horizontal.
you see them? I don't know if you.
Well, I couldn't, but it's not gonna be between the house and the lake.
No.
Okay, I couldn't tell.
Kind of what you're doing, right, Janet? Going to the lake? Yeah. Well, we said we were
Stephanie,
okay
can
with
you
it.
bring that last picture up that had it was the plaque with the drawing?
Yep.
God, this is so hard to see.
I don't know.
I can show you
This,
Here's the gate right here. This is covered patio, here's the gate, there's the steps. And right here, there's gonna be a gate, and there's a whole bunch of nice landscaping bushes and so on over here.
Okay.
There's steps going down, and then just follow the lot line, it's right at.
But you get pointing like they're going across the back.
yeah, but that's a lot on the side, but they're not going across the lake frontage, right?
Oh, this is lake frontage. This
Yeah, but
the
is
dock.
there a?
Yeah, but the fence, where is it in?
It's gonna be
Oh.
right along here.
Oh.
No, that's disallowed.
They can only bring it down to, we could give the variance down to their seawall
Okay.
on either side, but they cannot.
It doesn't show that,
Unless
y'all.
I took it wrong, this is red.
Yeah.
Okay, this.
And it's
That's
not-
all they're
Maybe This is
asking.
the 200.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. They're
Yeah.
asking on the side lots, not the frontage.
Okay,
We can do a variance on that.
So approval if it doesn't go across.
George, you did say you approved?
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one that was in the picture she used as an example is at Hidalgo, and we approved that back February 16th of 2018.
You got a good memory.
I think that's before me.
No, that's because I was doing research.
Kind of thought you might have.
Galleon.
9 Galleon Way Landscaping.
There was 3 Galleon ways.
Okay.
They're related. I pulled up and I got turned around a little bit, but 9 Galleon ways, what they're doing is improving something between the houses, all these rocks and boulders, because there was a new house built right next door that's 3 years old, and it's being washed away because there's a little gully there. The existing 4x4 flower bed is going to be replaced. The retaining wall. If you have the pictures there, I took a bunch of pictures. They're just trying to tidy up that wall that's getting real old. It's probably a 20-year-old house. But it's on the lake, it's nice. I recommend approval, unless I missed something.
Make it nicer.
Nikki, looking for Richard or go?
Okay,
We went beyond,
19 Gondola Way. I used to know the previous owner. He was a model train guy and a beekeeper. And now the new owner is asking for a pad next to his garage. And on the drawing, there was no dimensions of the pad next to the garage and the retaining wall. I emailed him this morning, the contractor, and he emailed back and he said the pad is going to be 16 by 50 and the retaining wall will be less than 4 feet on the front of the house there. So I mean, this is one of these driveways you go down, you need a golf cart to get back up. So with the pictures there, yeah, it'd be nice to have a.
okay, so this is a side entry garage up in front?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Thank you.
drive down the driveway. Now,
Has it been a shed
these
garage?
steps are gone, okay? But anyways, you drive in like
Yeah,
this,
okay.
okay? And it's right up on the lake. There was no one there when I was here.
George, what's the landscaping in front of that garage? I mean, is this going to be real visible from the street?
This is, it's pretty bad. I mean, it needs to be improved. It's gonna be a retaining wall here on this side and then 50 foot by, so we can get in here. Yeah, I think it's one of these rebuilds, you know, someone's flipping this house, but it's gonna have to look nice.
Well, I mean, how visible is it from the road?
The pad?
Yeah, this is going to be on the street, right?
It's pretty far back from the street. I would say at least 25 feet.
Are there trees, are there bushes?
There's no trees there.
Okay.
What's the retaining wall built out of?
Yeah, that's a good question. What are they made out of? They're not, I'm hoping it's not concrete block, but that's a good question. I can ask them. Well, you said block, B-L-O-C-K, so what does that mean?
Concrete block.
You wouldn't see it from the street.
You wouldn't?
You wouldn't see the block from the street.
Looks like it's
Well, those are,
absolutely facing.
well, those are 2-foot contour lines, so it's dropping, what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 feet to the house.
That actually
You
helps
gotta
me.
be a
Okay.
boat to get in there.
I don't know, 16 by 50 is 2 cars worth at least.
Yeah, that's a,
It's big.
Is
that's
it a,
big,
Is it a brick house?
No, maybe brick and frame, mostly frame on the one side. Yeah, like a Cooper frame, you know.
The little brick corners.
Brick corners,
Okay. When you said
stone,
that.
I would say.
Well, it'd be nice if they're going to use block, it'd be nice if they used a split face block, something that gives it a little texture. I don't know if we can require that, but
Well, didn't you say you couldn't see it from the street?
No, you
It's
can't.
going to be that far below the street.
You'd actually have to go down the driveway, stand in that 16 by 50 or look like that, then you'd see it because the decline is, you know.
okay.
Did you recommend or not?
I recommend approval.
I can go there.
Approved.
Okay.
The next one is 27, how do you say it, Galeon Way?
Yeah, Galleon.
Rebuild of a boat dock destroyed by the wind. Well, it's actually a slip in there. This picture they took, there's no, absolutely nothing there. Someone removed whatever got blown away or it went in the lake. The drawing here is pretty nice. The property line over here on the right side is 16 foot from the start of the deck. He's extending on the side. And then the deck goes out 8 feet from the seawall. So you extend 8 feet from the seawall.
He's just building a covering over that existing slip.
Yeah.
Right, you guys can see it, right? Can you see the slip? It's already there.
Sort of.
So this is
We did get this picture.
So it's more like just
this is
a roof.
a slip. It's cut into the lot
Yeah.
already. And it used to have a cover over it. It used to be roofed and it blew over, so we're just rebuilding. So that's really essentially all it is.
That's fine.
It says need variance on property line. Okay,
Well,
I don't know if it does or not.
it does not.
I don't think so. 16 foot from the right-hand side of the property.
I
It's
thought the
already
question-
pre-existing.
Yeah, I thought the question had come up, whether slips that are in the 20-foot setback are slightly different than slips of the boat docks off in the common property.
No, they're totally different, but it's already there. If he was asking for permission to build a slip, he'd have to get permission from Cooper.
The slip is 24 foot by 10 foot 6. We're looking at 28 by 16 covered boat dock,
Something.
you know, hip roof.
Approve?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Vote, guys.
Thank you. Next one, 51
That was already pre-approved on email last week. It was supposed to be on the agenda for our last meeting. It got mixed up somehow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Permitting sent it to me. I went out, put it up on email. We approved it. And they are probably already starting to build it.
Yeah, they were in progress.
That's why, they already had a permit.
Okay, thank you. That solves that problem. Now we're going on to 59 Tiburon Way. That's a dock. The dock is there already. He's adding.
It's one of your drawings. Excellent job.
Love it.
Larry?
Larry!
Asking
It's a
for an
box.
8x16 wooden dock, and I think this is to launch kayaks.
Okay.
There's not much to build in the square dock, though, so drawing that, I mean, what are you supposed to draw? Box.
That is so funny.
I recommend approval. I miss them.
Approved.
Okay.
Okay.
Next one is 93 Lindura Way. This is on a golf course house. Nice drawings. They're replacing their surface with that artificial, what is it, 2x6s on a diagonal? What do you call that?
Just a deck?
Composite deck, composite decking.
Thank you. It's gonna be the same footprint. The stairs had to be replaced already because they were really bad, so they did those, but there's no railing in yet.
This is an example of one I could have done in the office, by the way.
Yeah,
Right.
2x4.
They're just replacing an existing
Right.
deck.
I recommend approval,
Yeah.
Yep.
okay?
Approved?
Then the last one
Yes.
was a brand new house. Boy, did they add up a whole bunch of permits. Only thing I noticed here, the framing contract doesn't have a license, so maybe the general contractor's gonna carry the general liability and all that. 3278 on 2 lots, beautiful view overlooking Cortez on the Magellan on Juanina Drive. I think it's across from that one church there.
Assuming they've got the variance, easement variance, or if it's going across the line.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of printout here from Cooper Communities.
Yeah, I got it then. I would assume that they handle that at the office before it gets
We
to us.
won't send it to you unless.
I was gonna say, don't y'all handle, okay, never mind. Sorry I asked.
So that, I recommend approval on that one.
Yes, yes.
Big house.
Okay, I have 58 Jubileo Way landscaping.
So Larry, those are good drawings.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty,
Those are nice drawings. All right, okay.
little kid didn't do that.
58 Jubileo Way.
And if you want to pull up the pictures, it'll best explain what they're doing. The drawing kind of was terrible. They back onto Balboa Golf Course. Most of the houses along there have rock going up to the golf course grass. So what they're going to do is take out the Nandinas. They said that they don't do very well. And they're going to bring the rock that exists behind the Nandinas out toward the right-hand side of those trees to the golf course.
Okay.
So they're extending out about 6 feet with rock. And they still, on the far side of their property, still have quite a bit of grassed-in area. There's trees. They replanted trees that were taken out by the tornado. So I would move to approve. It's going to be, it's not even going to reach that middle maple that's in there. It's going to just come about 6 feet out from where the Nandinas are currently.
Yeah.
So I would move to approve. It matches along.
Approve.
And then right next door, we should do these permits with
Right.
neighborhoods.
You get a discount.
Number
I
60.
know. I get to go to 62 Jubileo after the meeting to look at
Is
something.
Oh,
it
really?
the same, is the landscaping also?
They are actually putting grass in. So they're kind of going the opposite way. So where you see that mulch bed, that is now going to be grass, and they're extending it on either side of it. So I would move to approve. Okay, 220 Minorca Signs. This is the Beehive asking for another permit for their weekend entertainment signs. They're asking for special event signs for live music, Friday and Saturday. They'll be put out on Friday afternoon, picked up Sunday morning each week when they have live music. However, with our sign guidelines, it does not fit the standards. So I would move to deny.
Where they wanting to put them at?
If they want to do, a one to three special events during the year, that's one thing, but it cannot be every weekend.
They were sticking these on DeSoto.
Are they wanting to put these on, where are they wanting to put them on?
At DeSoto and Minorca,
Okay, then, okay.
and at Valeric and Minorca.
I don't think you do that.
No.
So deny.
Vote, guys.
Tonight,
Denied.
Are we denying it based on that it does not meet our special event
Yes.
3 times per year?
If he wants to do it every weekend, if he wants to do just 1 to 3
Yeah.
per year,
Make it really, really special.
Okay.
Make it really, really special.
yeah. Well, my idea was if he wants to do some sort of event at his establishment to support a charity and they get part of the proceeds to go to charity, that would be one thing. Okay, 19 Talana Circle Landscaping. Duane, you did this ramp down to their boat dock, I believe, a while back. You needed a harness and rappel gear for it. If you want to bring up the pictures.
There's a lot going on in that picture.
This isn't that incredibly steep one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah.
George, you came on this one.
oh,
I think.
It's the serpentine golf cart track, and it's kind of rough concrete, so they can get a grip on it. Now, that's the front yard. They've already put some landscaping in. The rest of it, they're gonna do a little bit more with that island there. It's to the left. The rest of it will be rock, but they have foundation plants. It's very nicely done to this point. The backyard is the real issue.
Steve.
There you go. That's part of it. At the very top where you see the wrought iron fencing, it's level up there and they have grass.
Yeah.
Then you see the riprap and then you see the dirt slope. When it rains, they have washout from that. And then further to the right of that concrete that you can see is another nasty slope.
Oh, yeah, how nice.
So what they're gonna do is they're asking to rip wrap that, and down the road, what she's gonna do is, what I recommended was get whiskey barrels, put it in amongst the rip wrap with some flowers to help break up the rip wrap.
So basically, they just want to extend that gray riprap all the way.
Yes.
Everywhere you see dirt and weeds, they want gray rock.
Yes. And then, like I said, she had already thought of the idea I suggested with putting whiskey barrels or big
Some
planters
kind
in
of
there with some
planters.
flowers to break it up. So I would move to approve.
Looks like they're trying to make it nice.
Yeah,
They can.
they're,
It's a tough
it's a
situation.
tough one.
Oh,
It's pretty proper though.
oh yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great
but,
view.
man, they have to stay young.
Well, the husband was, when I was there, he was in Little Rock. He just had back surgery.
Yeah.
So,
Probably from having to walk up and down that lot.
I'm not even sure they could really do that safely with a golf cart. It's so steep in one section. All right, this one is 25 Hodar Lane, a garage addition. They do have the sign-offs from Cooper because it will be going over into their second lot. if you want to pull pictures up.
Is it better to just go to
Yeah,
pictures?
there's the plat line.
Well, you can't really see it.
Yeah,
It's there,
they're
okay.
really not extending too far into their other lot.
Zoom once or twice.
You just can't see it.
You just can't
It's a
see
terrible
it.
scan.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Still can't see the building.
Well, I think it's this hash mark.
No, it's got, they have the pre-existing garage attached to the house. They have a sidewalk that goes along the side of that garage toward the backyard. They're gonna make that the breezeway between the current garage and this one, so that it connects to their house. It will have its own driveway. It has landscaping between the two driveways.
So completely separate street entrances?
Yes. Where that gravel is, back here, they had it staked out, which was very helpful. Back corner, and then just off picture is the other corner of the garage. And then it comes out, so it actually helps them screen their side deck from the street, so I think it's a privacy fence too. But it will match the current house, so I would move to approve.
What's the dimensions of the garage? Hot roof?
It's a two-car.
Okay, 1099 DeSoto, the revised drawing, we did that on email. It was where Mr. Downs has the new commercial property,
Yeah.
and he's just twisting the building
Oh, yeah, we already approved that.
so that he can get the grinder in behind the building. Jason and his crew said that that would be the best bet, so what concerned me was there was a notation on this saying future gate, and it was on the Danville Road side. So I questioned him on that, and that is simply a gate to block off people from going around the back of the building to where the grinder is. But it gives maintenance the chance to get back there if they have to. It is not going to be an entrance onto Danville Road. He assured me of that. So we've already approved that, but I figured I'd explain that.
I drove by there, I mean, you cannot see what they're doing from DeSoto at all.
I didn't know they were doing it yet.
I
Yeah.
drove down, I went ahead and
I
drove
They
saw
down
did the
to
trees. They
Joe Sell,
started
just
with the
I
trees.
didn't
They
know.
got
myself they were, and it's all cleared. They built the little road
It's
off
right
the
here.
cell and the whole
Yeah,
thing.
he
but
left like a
you see
30,
it all.
50-foot screen.
Need to find
They did
out
a
what
really
he's
nice
building.
job of actually.
Well, the front part of the property is retail. I mean, he has room built in there for retail to go in, but
Yeah.
that's in the future. I mean, that's nowhere on a drawing board at this point. He's going to be utilizing the trail that exists now as his driveway. Remember, it
Yeah.
kind of came in further to the west on DeSoto and kind of angled back in. So smart move on his part for using that. The reroute of Hernando Trail, we were going to take it completely offline, but we went out as the Trails Committee, we walked it, sugar bites included. And grounds maintenance already has the path cut through. It's gonna be really nice. It's better than the straight shot that it was, and.
So we are putting it back.
Hmm?
Good.
Yes, we are
Okay, I
putting it back.
thought you weren't
And
wanting
then-
it.
Putting it back fully on
POA.
Well, yeah,
DOA property?
yeah.
I thought it was still on
Yes.
his.
Yes, there is, we were concerned because we thought we were gonna have to reroute it right along the road right of way, and that has caused us issues in the past with people complaining about how ugly it looks. But when we walked it, we found out we had a tremendous amount of property. I talked to Mr. Downs, and he said you can come as close to my property line as you need to, and the parking lot is completely on POA property.
Okay.
It's not on his, and he doesn't intend to do anything with it. His wife and daughter walk the trail, so he was more than willing to work with us on it and keep
He's a
peace in
nice
the
guy.
family. And grounds maintenance has about half to 3/4 already completely cleared of the debris. So They'll probably finish up in another week or so. I was hoping by the end of this week, but they got pulled for another project, but it's coming along quickly. It's gonna be real pretty, real nice. Good job by
Unfortunately, there's-
Norman.
They still have to cross the bridge. on the
Yeah,
side.
well, we discussed that again. We walked down to Danville Road to see, but that takes a judge's approval to do that. They put in these little white bumps that is not what was originally asked for. Jason has now said that, yeah, that was pretty stupid, the little white bumps. Todd Knowles said that the boomerang poles to delineate the shoulder and the roadway probably would have been the better way to go, but that's not in my purview. Tucker, I'll talk to you later about it for
1101
public service.
DeSoto is just a annual permit renewal. This will be
Yes,
1101.
Boys and Girls Club, they sponsor a fundraiser car show. Apparently this is an annual thing. They're not changing anything on it. 5 locations, Carmona and DeSoto, Barcelona, DeSoto, Colella and DeSoto. I think it's supposed to be El Cano and DeSoto, and Ponce de Leon Center will have the larger one at 3x6. All the others are 3x4s. Black and white in color, vinyl. It will be up for just the event, so I would move to approve. Ken, you're up. 15 Salvatierra.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions on here that I could not answer from the homeowner. Their proposal is to build, and I have a photo there somewhere,
Okay.
Stephanie, a new dock to the left of the existing dock. The question that I could not answer, do I have to demo the old dock before building the new dock? You can see that this is the existing dock, there's a seawall, she wants to build a new dock, which is 12 by 24, to the left. You can see that float out
Where
there.
the floaties are, yeah.
And I told her I can't answer whether you can have, the second question was, can I have 2 docks here at the same time, with the understanding, or the question is, do I have to demo the existing dock? I don't know how to answer that. Someone please?
Do they want to take the other dock down?
Not according to that
It's,
permit.
it's an older dock.
Only one waterfront structure is permitted per lake lot.
Well, is it connected though? I know we've allowed people to connect them and add
It
on.
sounded like she was gonna have them.
Not according to the drawing, Tucker. You can see they've got 11 feet between the two.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of speaks for itself,
But
doesn't
I
it?
couldn't answer that. Do I have to demo the old dock before building the new dock? Or,
I think the
Yes, unless
answer
we
is
say
that
otherwise.
they can only have one, but they can't overlap by construction period.
Well, for practicality purposes, I would think we'd let them keep the old dock
Yeah.
until the new one is built, and then they tear the old one.
that's the question.
I mean, that's
I think that's fair. Yeah.
a fair thing.
So long as we can put that in writing.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, what's gonna happen? Well, I guess we got means to make it happen now.
We just need to note that they are, that this permit is contingent upon the removal of the old dock.
There you
So
go.
they can't have 2 structures.
There you
So
go.
You'll put wording into that?
I will.
Good, thank you. Then I move to approve her proposal. This next one is and I have a photo of this one also. They're asking to remove gravel that they're currently using as a parking pad and put in a small concrete. You can see over to the left of the driveway right there, thank you, is gravel, and they just want to put a concrete pad there instead of that gravel.
see it from the street.
It's gonna match that aggregate, are they doing aggregate for the extension then?
I didn't understand you.
Are they using the same aggregate concrete that they have for their current
It
driveway?
would match the
Exposed
driveway.
aggregate, yeah.
So I move approval on that.
How do they do against the easement lines?
Right there, you can see it.
Oh, you've got plenty of space.
Well, I mean, it goes right up to it.
Thank you, I actually do. So they're not going to go to the street? Yeah,
No.
So you're just kind of widening that.
I agree.
Approved.
I agree. Approve you. New home.
I agree.
What do you say? That's the Renaissance.
16 Promesa Place.
There are no elevation
Really?
on this permit at all.
Huh.
This gives the, I didn't get everything on it. I just received
There they are.
2 pages. I didn't get the elevation.
Big house.
But anyway,
Big
this is
Looks like a big house.
Renaissance home. I move approval.
Agreed.
Approved.
Fencing. These individuals want to put in a 4-foot black powder-coated fence on both sides of their house down to the seawall. And I met with both the property owners and took photos and sent them to you. I have no problem with the 4-foot powder-coated wrought iron fence with 2 gates, one on each side.
Brought iron.
Wrought iron.
I
I
agree.
move approval.
Thank you.
Approved.
Approved with the variance to go down to the seawall.
Yeah, exactly. Forgot about that. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
This is exactly the same thing that I just quoted, going down to the seawall on Jornada, if I'm pronouncing that correct.
Sounds fine.
Powder-coated, 4-foot fence on each side. You cannot see the fencing at all from the house. It's a very steep lot. And so there's no problem that I saw. 4-foot, 2 gates, wrought iron, powder-coated.
I agree.
Approved.
Okay, another variance.
I somehow think the word got out.
I haven't said anything.
Sure you haven't.
You're mumbling under your breath.
Got that dang recorder up there.
This next one I have an issue with because it does not meet our revised special event sign. This is TJ's Wine and Spirit. They are currently putting out and leaving out day after day and week after week 2 what I call sandwich boards, if that's a good term. Right, just almost at DeSoto. I mean, that's Ponce.
Yeah, they're right.
Uh, And I move denial. They're doing it on both sides of the street, but it does not meet our.
You mean both sides of the driveway going in? don't you?
Yeah.
Yes,
Got a question.
yeah.
They also have added lights.
I have a photo of that also, if you need to see it.
Yeah, they've got
Did
the
you
lottery
notice the new
sign out there
lights?
too.
I didn't understand you, Lynn.
They put lights on those 2 sandwich boards.
Don't have any.
I didn't see lights.
They may be photocell.
Yeah, I think they're solar powered
Solar.
and they're ground
But
mounted.
yeah, they've started mowing and they have directional lighting.
But
I
I
didn't know if
move
it did
denial
that.
based on the fact it does not meet our current or revised.
Does anybody, Larry, do you know them? You know them, don't you?
I know, you know.
I do too.
Would you? Yeah, I mean, I do too. I'm just trying to get out of it.
Yep, okay.
But, I mean, I think we need to talk to them, or somebody needs to talk to them and say, guys, we're more than willing to look at a sign for you guys there if you want to do something different, but we can't do
I
that.
actually did have that conversation with
Okay.
her and said, let's look at, I mean, part of the problem, although I think the POA would work with them, is
Yeah.
that there's a 150-foot road right away on that side, so getting a sign back up to their property is nearly impossible.
No, I don't know why we wouldn't let them do it down there until we,
I agree.
until we need that space for the dang highway, the road to expand. And they have to be
Right.
responsible.
They want to put a permanent sign up for that whole complex, and there is one right at the corner. It just, as Tucker pointed out, it needs to be refurbished.
Yeah, it's just,
And TJ's isn't even on that sign, I don't
Right.
believe.
No, it's not.
but we would definitely, I guess we would definitely entertain, or my opinion is that, I think the consensus is we'd all entertain letting them put that in that 180-foot right of way, as long as they knew if whoever needed to take it down, it'd be their responsibility. It would,
Well, it would have to be a permanent sign. We're not doing the.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, permanent sign. Well, the one they've got there is in there.
All the businesses in there.
The one that's there is
wanted
in the right of way.
to submit a drawing
The one
to
that's there
us
is
for
in
a
the right of
permanent
way.
sign, like Remax has
Right.
with.
Isn't the one that's there in the right of way?
To
There's
be
one
honest,
right,
it's set way back.
Is it? It may not be in the right
well,
of way.
there's one,
There's one on the corner.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's in the right of way.
It's, again, they
I
don't,
think it is.
they don't mow that extra lot, so
Right
it
about
tends to
here.
be back,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can see it,
it's-
that's the shadow
That's
of
the
it.
sign right there.
yeah, it's
Well,
right
yeah,
there.
that's in the right of way.
That's in the right way.
So it's not like we're allowing them to do anything they hadn't already done.
But it's set back enough where it's not gonna cause issues with sight
For 30 foot.
for traffic. It
But
just,
the
it's,
sandwich signs are right
By the drive.
next to the drive.
yes,
I
yes.
wonder if they refurbish that, thinking about this, Tucker, because part of the deal is they, you know the story of the business and changing business and financial and all that stuff. It's just the money to build a new sign right now. What if they could move that one? Because that's doing them no good on that corner. You can't see it, you can't see the shopping center, that's not where you
Oh,
enter.
you could, I'll guarantee you could move it.
Yeah, if you picked that thing up, refurbished it, and just relocated it
I
right
I
in the
thought it
drive.
was, I thought it was a rock base.
No, it's
with
wood.
this-
I looked at it the other day, because after we had talked, I said, I didn't remember what it looked like. I did look at it. I think it's just a wood on two posts.
I do too.
Yeah, if they brought it back and set it back far enough off the road right of way so that it's not gonna interfere with sight line for traffic coming out of that driveway.
And you can still see it. It's cleared in there, open it up. It's
Yeah, I
open in
think,
there.
yeah.
How are they gonna
Wouldn't it be
illuminate it?
advantageous for
Solar
them a
power?
little bit closer to the driveway?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, just
Get it.
oops, oh my gosh, sorry.
Yeah, get it where they're at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just pick this sign
Yeah,
up right
right
here
here.
and move it right down here.
Absolutely.
Right.
But again,
And
that
then that's
has,
saving
that
them
has
some money
those
and
two
getting-
Should
separate
be by
lots
the entrance.
Yeah,
designated.
I agree.
Yeah, I think so too. I'll-
TJ's is on one lot, the sign's on a different lot.
Yeah, but that sign is for every
It's fine,
business
it's the
that's
same
in there.
ownership from what I understand.
And
It
it's
is,
for
they
every
own all of
business.
Pardon?
I said that sign has every business, I think, that's located in there on it, except for TJ's.
Yeah,
Well, it's supposed to have anyway, I think.
it's one of the
multiple
good
lists.
changes, but,
Signs.
so I'll mark it as denied and we'll work with them on
Yeah,
location
yeah.
and things and Stanford. Yeah, okay.
I have another issue with this next one over at Explore Restaurant and Marina on Ponce. Just last week, they requested a permit on July, well, I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, July the 10th, several weeks ago. But they've already replaced everything. It's already constructed.
This is that fence. This is a compliance issue.
Pardon?
This is a compliance.
Yeah, it's been up for about 2 or 3 weeks.
So I don't know what to say other than the fact that
Well, let's look at it from the point of view, is if they had put an application in,
Timely.
would we have approved the type of fence?
it's a good question.
And if the
And it
answer
looks
is
good.
yes,
What
then
kind of fence is
Stephanie's
that?
office can work
This
with
is
the finding
solid.
issue.
That's right.
The only thing that I had was-
The dumpster.
Oh,
Yeah, but they're also they have 2 frontages here. And you've got a whole bunch of dumpsters and trash cans and stuff back in here. Well, they have it fenced off for the street traffic, but you got lake traffic. You got people that are using the marina.
Yeah, but, I mean, you don't want the lake to see garbage either. You'd rather
Well,
than
that's
see a
what I'm
fence.
saying.
Yeah.
I think we need to look at that, this is existing, that they put it up
Get it where
and
you can see it.
What are they wanting to do again?
They just put a
hiding
containment
their
fence for their
dumpsters.
garbage. That's all it is.
They didn't run it across the lakeside?
No, they did not,
It's only on the street side.
on the street.
And it's
they're
been
wanting
up
to
for
run it
about
across the
2 or
lake
3
now?
weeks.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's not actually, oh my gosh, I wish I brought those.
I have a photo
Oh, you do?
of
Yeah.
it somewhere.
Took a picture, good picture too.
Well,
It's,
yeah,
it's nice looking, I
I'll just
mean,
get his
it's,
picture.
it's
Solid fence.
nice, it's a nice wood fence, it's board on board.
It's 7 feet tall.
Well, we've talked about that. There's exceptions to rules.
yeah, but
I
in
mean,
commercial, that actually is allowed.
well, it can be,
6 feet.
yeah, we can allow that if it's,
What you're saying is they should have run it on the backside too, so that
Yes.
you've covered it from the lake as well.
How's the compliance people gonna handle that?
We'll fine them. I mean, they'll be fined already, actually,
doing
but
it
they
without.
still, part of the fining process is they're fined, and then it's $25 a day until they have resolution. The resolution in this case is to get a permit.
Well, it's not finished either, we need to block it off from the lake, though.
Well, that's what we're saying. She's saying we would,
That's my issue too.
we would
The
maybe
marina
remove.
looks right into the dumpster.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, it's
So
got-
they need
it's
to-
got 2 frontages,
So you would permit it,
Good
but
point.
with it being completely enclosed on all
Yeah.
3
Right.
sides, basically.
With the fine.
how are they getting vehicles in there to get to them?
Where the vehicle is on the left-hand side,
Yeah?
that is actually a huge gate, from what I remember, because I drove by it when it was open, so I think that's how they're doing the
Yeah,
trash
right
trucks in
here.
and out. And then they have this side, other side
And they have
entrance
the
too.
van.
Sorry.
So our trash trucks are driving in a place and dumping dumpsters?
Well, it's, they have that machine now on some of the trash trucks, to be able to pick up the cans and,
Oh, they've got that kind of little bitty.
Well, I don't think that's what they're using. They use
No.
one, the one they dumped mine, I've got one at my shop. It comes from
Yeah.
the side, big dumpster dumps
but
in, but
that's a gate that's on
I
that.
think it's not the dumpster back there. I think it's trash and boxes and when they're unloading, just their general kitchen mess, because that's the door to the kitchen.
I'm just trying to figure out how the trash truck gets in there to dump it.
Now,
I don't think that's in there. I think that's not a dumpster in there.
where's the
Oh.
lot line?
I think it's
Yeah,
just to
that-
hide their,
Mechanical stuff.
Yep.
Hidden.
just
Where they
stuff.
can smoke.
How about the lot line, where's that going?
Well, they got plenty of room on the lot
Okay.
line,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they don't have easements on
My
the
issue
commercial.
was the.
They do, actually.
marina.
But they're in good shape there.
What do you say they're hiding in there?
They're trash receptacles.
But not
No?
their dumpster, because he's right, the garbage guy can't get in there.
Well, I think this one over here, because that's the only place that they have for their trash. That's actually a dumpster back in there.
Well, but that's
There's
just
trash
a,
being up in the front, but
So they gotta roll it out and then.
Is it a big dumpster or is it just a big trash can?
it looks like it's just a big trash can.
it's,
See
no,
it?
it's one of those smaller dumpsters. It's not a huge,
I know, but how do they get, the truck can't get to it?
no, I just drove
Where are you
by,
supposed to find it?
just drove by and saw the big gate open, Tucker.
I'm asking for a reason. I'd like to put another dumpster down at my shop, but everybody uses it by my people. Like, can I close it off and they can get to
So
it?
Stephanie's office will handle the pre-built before they got the permit issue, and then we are requesting that they continue the fence on the lake frontage.
The fence, yes.
Oh, either finish it or take it down, one or the other.
Don't want to take them down.
No, we gotta make it, get it done right.
He just needs to start the practice of coming to us first before something gets done.
So what are we going to do today? Approve it, deny it, or something else?
It's a fence that we would, I believe we would have approved if he had come to us with the application prior to build.
Except we're going to require an addition, so we wouldn't approve
Well, that would be
the backside.
an exception too.
Yeah.
No, we'd say we
need
would
to
approve
a
it
backside.
With the back.
Prove it with the fact that they close it on the end
I'm-
around the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuck on the procedure.
Right.
The last one is, the Walter Allen Homes, and, once again, I just received a 2-sheet, on the application, so I do not have any elevations, so I recommend approval.
It's just a new home.
Yes.
Which one is that one though? Let's look at that, 'cause that's a new builder, right?
50 Marilla.
Yeah.
Walter Allen Home,
He's built 2 houses so far.
He's the one that called, right? And we, okay.
Thanks to somebody in this room, he came to me when he first came here
There it is.
and asking me about things.
And the elevation looks nice.
He's on his 3rd house now.
Okay,
Approval.
Larry, are you up now?
Yes, I am.
14 Algeciras Lane, landscape.
Yeah, they want to put a little area, flower beds in the back. I think there's a drawing issue. Yeah, there it is. And they have 2 on the side and 2 on the front. But the key issue, I guess, is they want to put a turf area, artificial turf area in front. And I didn't know whether we allowed that or not.
We do.
Yes,
We do?
We kind of,
we kind of added that in, just.
the guidelines we actually
We're
have.
gonna
In
allow
that case,
that.
I recommend approval.
Right.
Seems pretty straightforward.
We figured it's better than just all rock.
Seems like somebody starts doing something in the neighborhood, everybody and their neighbors want to do it too. There's a lot of addresses right next to each other on here, several on the same
That does
street.
seem to happen.
23 Victoria Lane, solar panels. Wow, you've got 3 all on the same road too.
Yeah, that helps.
This was one of those where it would have been nice if they'd have given me the homeowner's name and all that, phone numbers and stuff, but I did go down and contact him.
Yes, Stephanie, is there something we can do with the citizen serve? Because when we get those permit applications, there's no contact information.
No, there wasn't.
About
There's a
half
drawing
the time when I
that,
get them, they've added it in.
Isn't it on the paperwork?
Nothing, they're just doing a
Or you don't get all
drive
that?
on a door.
On the computer.
Yeah, I'll look at that. It should,
Submitted app.
you should get that. I agree with you.
This particular drawing shows it, solar panels all across the back and across the side. I talked to the guy personally, and he has so many trees there, it's not going to do any good. They have decided not to put any solar panels down the side. It's only going to be on the back side of the house.
How many kilowatts?
I don't know, I'm not concerned with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, since it's pretty heavily wooded area, I don't see how it affects anybody. I recommend we approve it.
Approved. 43 Victoria Lane.
Man,
Yeah, this one, we need to talk about a little bit. Really nice people. They want to put a rear patio cover on there. They want to, there's a drawing of it. Steph. They're going to extend out, extend out their patio out. They're going to roof it. It'll be just like the house. Which I see no problem with, except that they are also going to put in they call it a swim spa. And it's going to be on the patio. It's 8 feet wide and 12 feet long, and it's 5 foot deep, and it's surface mounted, it's not sunk.
Do we have a permit for that one?
Well, they haven't put it in. That's what they want.
I know, but I'm just wondering why there's no,
Yeah, they would have to have a permit for their swim as well, is what you're saying, right?
yeah,
Separate permit?
yeah.
Okay.
Electric.
It's just, they're on the left-hand side is where they're gonna come out. But I didn't know if this qualified as an above-ground pool, or, since it's a 5 foot deep swim spa, basically.
I would say it's probably gonna look more like a hot tub with
Yeah, it's sort of like an
I think it's gonna
oversized
look
hot
like a
tub.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, an oversized hot
He is
tub.
gonna screen it. He said he was gonna put a little, he said he wanted to put a wooden fence around it, kind of like a lattice fence around it, give him some privacy.
Well, yeah.
Open top.
Uh-huh.
So he is going to extend that gable roof.
Yes.
You can see the dark lines are the extension there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't see a
being
problem with it.
open Gable, not that hip.
So I would recommend approval of it. Probably need to advise them that they need another permit for the swim.
Well, with the variance, he's gotta get electrical permit, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Well, electrical.
And that'll all come
plumbing,
out.
That all comes
Yeah,
with
and
that.
all that good stuff.
But yeah,
Let's see, what was this one?
yeah. This one's on the same street again.
45, yeah.
57 Rocoso.
No, now you're on 45 Victoria.
Yeah.
Oh, am I?
Yep, you're still
Yeah.
on the same
Don't
street.
leave the area,
All
don't leave the
this
neighborhood
easy.
yet.
I mean,
Don't leave the neighborhood till you get done.
Oh, yeah, 45. This one, the guy wanted to put the gentleman wanted to put a drainage ditch all the way from the front to the back. It's let's see, 2 foot wide and 100 foot long. I went by to look at it, and I think I sent you a photo of it, Steffi. It's practically finished already.
Oh,
He's already put it in. I asked him why, and he said he was trying to contain the water that's draining in that direction. And I think there is a photo. Yeah, there it is. He's already got the ditch dug. He's got polyethylene in it, and he's covering it with gravel. And it's anyway, it was done before he got a permit.
which way's moving the water? From the back to the front, or?
Yes, it's going back toward the golf course.
Oh, from
Sorry,
the front to the back.
Direction is
Back.
going
Front to the
To
back.
the back.
Yeah.
to the back.
Yeah,
So he's
to the
gonna
back.
dump water on the golf course?
Yeah, it's a little ways from the golf course yet.
But, okay.
The water basically all, that whole area goes that way anyway.
He's just containing it in the ditch,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
To look good? I mean, I can't tell from that picture.
Well, it's not quite finished yet, but I think when he gets it all gravelled up, it'll probably look all right. Just be a gravel ditch. Other than the fact that he didn't get a permit, I'd recommend we would would have approved it.
Yes.
I agree.
okay. Approval, and Stephanie's office can handle another one.
We can make a killing here.
Make it work.
Sorry, that got recorded.
Yeah. Oops.
Now you're
Okay,
57.
57 Rocoso now, isn't it?
Yeah. 57.
Gentleman wants to build an 8 by 10 deck on the southwest corner of his house. It's just an extension of the existing deck. You can kind of see the yellow
Yeah.
is where he's adding it. It's not in the setback area. This is a lot where if you walk to the edge of it, it drops off about 100 feet down. It's a beautiful view lot. It's way up high on Rocoso.
Okay.
I took a couple pictures of the existing area. I think I would recommend approval. I'll let you look at the pictures of it. But I think there should be at least a notation, Stephanie, that he's going to build it himself, and he needs to be sure that he puts the railing on there according to code,
Okay.
so that a 4-inch spear can't go through between the pickets. But that's where he's going to come
Deep,
out.
Yeah.
deep, isn't it?
Oh, boy.
Okay.
It really drops off. I wouldn't want to build it myself. I'd be afraid of falling off.
This is the Saline River right underneath it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I know where it's at.
Anyway, I'd recommend approval,
Good.
as long as he builds it to code.
434 Mederas Dry Landscaping.
Yeah, I talked to the gentleman and the lady both, and they want to improve the backside of their property, and they're basically going to build little small planter beds with cut stone and put planters inside. You can see on the drawing there, they're circular in nature. And then they're going to have a little flagstone landing in between, but I think it's only going to be like a couple feet high. So I saw no problem with it.
Move it.
Yeah. Is that common
I
property
recommend
behind?
approval. Pardon me?
Is it common property behind?
I think
North Arrow?
it's a golf course back there, let me see.
Is that golf course? That's what I was asking.
It's Granada Golf Course.
Okay, yeah.
All right, approved.
Approved.
I recommend approval, okay.
Okay, Cortez Island tree cutting. Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting one. I talked to Dale Scott, who owns the island. This thing is, of course, I imagine you're familiar with it. Tucker, I wasn't, but it is covered with trees. But he took, Nell Scott, the owner, took Todd Knowles out there and walked the property. And they've got a lot of dangerous trees on there that some have already fallen and some are leaning on other trees.
Yeah.
And they want to cut out about 36 of them, I think, that are about 110 feet high, he said. To take care of, it's really kind of dangerous what he and Todd Knowles seems to think. And if you've got trees leaning like that, I think it is dangerous. So they want to go in there and take some of those out, but they're going to leave a 20-foot buffer all the way around of trees. He intends to build a house in there at some time, but I feel like they need to get the trees out of there now before somebody maybe get hurt. But
Are they clearing the lot to build on?
they're not going to clear it. They're just taking out those trees that he and Todd Knowles believe are dangerous.
So when they start building, they're gonna have to take out more
They're
trees.
going to have to take out more trees. Yes.
So it still leaves it a pretty wooded.
Yeah, if they're using that 20-foot barrier all the way around, that's pretty.
Yeah, that's what he quoted me, was a 20-foot perimeter.
This may be Todd's call, but are we just gonna leave them on the ground, or are they gonna get them?
No, they'll get them out of there.
I'm sure.
I mean, if they're
Yeah,
at Island.
They're gonna have to
they're gonna have to
eventually
float
for
them.
the
Get
house.
them out of there is the issue.
Yeah,
Driving
But
through.
if it's as dangerous as Todd thinks it is, I think I would recommend approval.
Approved? Oh, let's see.
Okay.
La Plaza West sign.
Yeah, the new owner, Jim Birmingham, and I spoke about this the other day. Basically, they have an existing sign now. I took a picture of it, I believe, and sent it to you. That's the new one they want to put in. The question I have is the size of the sign. I think the one they're taking down is smaller than the one they want to put back up.
What size is it, Larry?
Well, it's kind of interesting how they say it has a 72-inch by 96-inch backer, a 48-inch by 120-inch monument, but it's 84-inch by 120-inch overall. You know, that's 7 by 10.
10 by 7.
Yeah,
7 by 10 overall. It's a pretty big sign.
yeah, 5 foot above grade's what we've always went by.
I'm sorry?
5 feet above grade's what we've always kind of went by.
That's the one they're going to remove. They want to put a new one in, and it's a pretty good sized sign. They want to move it further down, closer to the building.
Got a question, this is sort of at the east gate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Okay, it's titled west.
Yeah, I know. Stephanie and I figured that out.
Okay.
It's east instead of west.
Yeah, okay.
Larry, all I would say, and I've done this before, and you can call me cheating or whatever, but I think it served the purpose, but, you know, like that sign, if you look at it, it sets down a little low anyway.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to get it more exposure to the sign, you know, they could do some grade work and do that. But that's why I said 5 foot above grade.
Yeah.
We did that just recently, tried to do a little bit of it, but it was kind of hard at the corner of Ponce and DeSoto there with some of those signs. But that last one we did there, the coffee shop and stuff, kind of set in the hole. So there wasn't much I could do there, but tried to raise it just to ground a little bit just to get it up there where you can see it. But you're talking about a 7 foot sign.
That's a big
Yeah.
sign.
And I don't know that is 8 foot. What was that, Stephanie? Do you not remember?
Which?
What is our commercial sign deal that we've had in the past? 5 by 8, wasn't it?
Well, you know, I was looking at our new requirements, and I don't see that.
Well, Stephanie was going to transfer that over in the commercial end. Last we talked, I think, what?
I did.
See, the ground commercial signs, it says it's 36 square feet each side. That's
36 square feet. But
Yeah,
I think I always thought it had a height and a length to it, which that would be 40 feet if it's 5 by 8, so that's not necessarily right.
he does want to move it closer to his building.
I've got a question, because I recall the sign that we're seeing is actually on a common property, or right of way. There's a huge right of way out there that's actually not.
Well, there's actually not.
Most of the right of way is on the other side.
There's not a huge right of way out there.
Stephanie, do you recall?
There's almost none because.
Cooper still owns all of it.
Cooper still owns it. We
There's
don't-
no right of way. We don't even have the 180-foot right of way out there.
Yeah,
So-
it's actually all Cooper land. So
Yeah.
we actually had them contact Cooper to make sure it was gonna be cool to put the sign in.
He's okay.
I didn't have a problem with them moving it closer to the building. My question was, can we allow them to have that big of a sign? Now, as I said, they quoted 72 by 96 backer. I'm assuming that's what you put the tinted panels on. is the
Yeah.
backer. But even that is, that's 6 by
8.
8.
And I think the other dimension included those stone posts on both
Yeah,
sides.
yeah. The 7 by 10 includes the posts on it.
Yeah, and here it says commercial ground signs, the bottom of the sign must be within 2 feet of grade and must be set back a minimum of 10 feet from property lines.
I
So,
don't think he has any problem doing that. The overall size of the sign, it might be something.
Well, I don't even have an issue with that.
yeah.
I have an
mean, I
issue
think
with
he
how big
actually-
the sign is.
Yeah,
That's my problem, not where it's at.
I think it's bigger than what our guidelines say it should be.
It sounds like it's really close. What he's talking about, 6 by 8 foot sign mounted 2 foot above the ground, is that 10 foot by something,
Yeah.
or 8 foot by 10 foot.
Well, I got a call as an ACC member, asking about a sign of this, of bigger nature at another property that was being sold, and I basically told them they would be adhered to the ACC rules that we have in place, even though if it is actually gonna be deeded as a village property, and they said it was, and I said, well, then the guidelines will be the same as the village.
Do you have the one, Stephanie, that has the sizes listed on it? Because it's still kind of confusing. It's a little
Yeah.
confusing to me. Oh.
You mean the old one?
No, his new one he's proposing.
Oh.
The old one is what we've got up there now. The new one he's proposing. There's a picture of it. Yeah, can you blow that up any?
Yeah, but it's fuzzy.
Okay.
It's not gonna be.
Well, here's what it says. It says a 72-inch by 96-inch backer. It'll have 12-inch by 44-inch tinted panels, 48-inch by 120-inch monument, 84 by 120 overall.
120 being width.
Yeah.
That's 10 feet.
I don't even know that I'm so hung up on that either, but I mean, I guess,
The thing I'd say in his defense is that he's also moving it way, way off of the road.
Yes, he's moving it
So,
off the highway. He's moving it.
What we're gaining with nothing close to the road, we might give back in visibility size.
I think there's another drawing, Stephanie, that shows where he wants to put it on property.
well, we've just always, I mean, every time I've ever built a sign in commercial in this village, I've always designed everything around 5 by 8 because that's the rule.
You see
That's
the,
what I always understood the rule to be.
Well, but this is 6 by 8?
Yeah, which is not,
No.
that's, I wish I could have built them 6. I would have.
Okay.
I would have designed down 6 foot if I knew I could have. You know, I'm just saying, I mean, that's, the rules are the rules, I mean,
The yellow is where he wants to put the sign now. The existing sign is on further to the right down by the entry
Yeah.
to the parking lot. So he's wanting to move it up closer to his building.
It's not the direction I thought he was moving.
But I don't think this is 6 foot, Duane, it's 7 foot.
Yeah, 7 foot, 84.
Depends on whether you count the monuments. The sign,
The monuments. How high in the air does the sign go?
84 inches tall.
Yeah, that's,
which is a
120
6-foot
inches
sign, 2 feet off of the ground.
Well,
the
no,
purpose of the
it's-
height of the sign is not how far off the ground. I mean, we
Well,
could put,
that's actually what
we
we
can't
wrote.
put a 5-foot sign 10 foot in the air.
What we
The 5 foot
said,
above grade is the top of the sign.
I'm sorry, what I thought we just read was it must be 24 inches off the ground.
It doesn't say it must be 24 inches. It says it should be within 24. It should be within 2 feet of grade.
Okay,
But this one sits on the ground, so it
This
doesn't
one
matter.
sits on the ground.
It's irrelevant to this particular sign. From the ground up, it's 84 inches. From
But you
ground
know-
to top of sign is 84 inches. So it's 7 feet tall. And it's 120 feet, or 120 inches.
What I was having trouble with, Tucker, was separating the backer from the monument. I'm not quite sure I understand, and then the overall, I'm not quite sure I understand the difference there.
Well, the backer, I'll show you what I think it means.
The backer is
Picture
the,
is this.
Yeah.
This is the backer.
right, that's what I'm
I
thinking.
was assuming.
yeah,
And this is the monument, right? So this is 120, and this from here to here is 84,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the monument's 48, whatever, 120.
So-
So it's 48 from here to here, 120 from here to here, 84 from here to here, 120 from here to here.
So it's a 7
And
foot
these
tall.
things, each one of these is that 12 by
12 by
14.
44,
Yeah, that's right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Okay,
12 by
that's
14.
kind of what I was leaning toward,
Yeah.
I think so. But.
So at the end of the day, though, the main thing we're concerned with is from here to here and here to here.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's 7 foot high and
Right.
10 feet wide. I mean, it's almost a billboard. So I didn't make a recommendation one way or another, but I don't believe it meets our guidelines now, does it?
It's too
Well-
big.
It's too big. So I would assume we'd have to turn it down.
We just need to tell him what he has to, how much he has to shrink it, I guess,
Yeah.
basically. We need,
So I'd recommend we decline it and tell him what the guidelines are. Okay?
I agree. I agree.
5 by 8, right? You're saying?
I don't know where I pulled that number out of my head, but, or somewhere, but it's 5 by 8 is what I've always went by.
since we still got it on discussion,
It
thinking
would just
about
be
it,
a huge sign.
would we as a group consider, is that what we want the max to be, or would we consider a variance to something?
I don't think we need to. I mean, that's the whole thing about the signs. We don't want great big signs that, billboards or anything else in the community.
Well, it's some guidance to feed back to it.
Right. I'd say 5 foot 8, 5 foot by 8 foot's been the rule forever, so.
It gets all done.
Yeah, it's not a huge complex. They've got, what, 4 to 6
That is all yours,
businesses.
Larry.
I think it's got 2, a hair and a nail salons in it right
But I
now.
think there's
There's 4 rental
capability of
places.
having 6.
Yeah.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
other people actually.
Actually, there's
Janet, this
4,
one's yours, is that 82
Janet,
Doscientos
there's
he has
4.
to redo.
5.
This was your last one, is this 82
Oh,
Doscientos?
yes, this we did last time. George went out with me, I believe. This was the one where we went down the big hill and the deck was up in the trees. They submitted it, they went into permitting and they asked for a metal roof. And they were told that it was not going to be approved with a metal roof in the office, and he scratched out and put shingles on. Well, he recontacted me and asked again if they could put metal on. You would definitely need to be in a helicopter or be a bird to see the top of this roof.
What color?
It's going to match the shingles in color.
You know what the slope is on it?
I did not pull the old permit out.
I have it.
It's not a standing seam.
What's the
You need to
dimensions?
slope it, at least
112.
12.
10 foot by,
Well, if it's anything like the slope, it's enough, but I don't, or the drawing, but I don't,
Yeah, if the
But
drawing
that's-
is correct, it's okay.
yeah, if the drawing's correct, it's
Yeah,
okay.
If it's real my point, Janet, if it's really low slope, he's gonna have to go to a standing seam metal.
I think you already was doing that.
Okay, well, a standing seam metal.
Yeah, he was already gonna do that. You're not gonna be able to see this roof, so I would move to approve the metal.
I agree.
Okay,
Move to approve.
agreed.
This is one that came, that we missed in the office, so apologies. It was submitted mid-July, and somehow we lost track of it. And we realized it was still not on the agenda, and they called to find out about their permit, so it's coming to us kind of late. It's fairly straightforward, and I have some photos. But they're wanting to put in a concrete patio.
Is this the 30 Candelera?
Yes.
Stephanie, did you go out to do this one?
I sent Charlie to take the photographs of it.
Oh, okay, well, that's,
And
and this was another email, Janet, can you do it? No, I'm with the dying cat.
And it was late yesterday, and I had to go to the board meeting, so I couldn't do it either, but that's okay. I don't want to, I just figured Charlie could take a picture. So you can see as far as the plat's just, it's right around, let me get the pictures of it. Just wanting to come off with a concrete patio, not covered, not anything, just a concrete patio off their back.
Common property behind.
Where is that?
Looks like it's got a strip of common property running through there.
Candelera.
If that's it.
It does.
Okay.
There's nothing around it.
It looks like it didn't even have a patio behind the house.
It had a little
Little
5x5
stoop?
stoop.
Oh, it's common, and then it's not village. This is
Oh,
on the edge of
okay.
this is on the edge of the village.
No problem with me.
Yeah. Approve.
We have a vote? Approved.
Approve.
Hello.
Anybody else have anything?
Anything.
45 and an
Okay,
apple, 2.5.
the meeting is adjourned at 11:04.
That's the treasure.
I think we did a record for that many permits.
I was gonna say,
in
we
that
got
sort
to-
of amount of time.
We got 2 for lunch.
Especially stuff that you're, design approval stuff.
Okay, thank you. It's a lot.
It actually seemed like a long week.
It's not even over.
I know.
Have another one this afternoon.
Thank you.
Did you ready to start building something? Or drawing something?
You leave?
Yeah?
No, I'm on the